Hi everyone, welcome again to another crochet infusion. Thank you all so much for being here today. So today I'm going to be showing you all how to do this Darling Spark gift set for the basket. So if you want to do the other accessories for this basket, I've got other tutorials on there for you all, so you can just jump to those if you want to go straight to the accessories and leave the basket, or you might just want to do the basket and use this basket alone or for something else. So this is actually originally for my Darling Spark gift set, and today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this beautiful Darling Spark basket. And of course I've done handles either side of here, and I've also used cotton yarn for the bow, cotton yarn for the top, and then for the actual main basket I am using a t-shirt yarn, which is a weight of a 4mm weight for medium weight yarn. So that is the yarn that I have used, and this is in 50 grams, so I've used 2 of these at 50 grams, so you're going to need 2 of these if you're using the same yarn as myself, but by all means you can use any yarn you wish to use. So for this particular yarn I will be using a size 4mm crochet hook today, and you're going to need some scissors, a tapestry needle, stitch marker and a tape measure, and of course you might need to get yourself maybe a row counter. If you don't have a row counter, by all means you can just take track of how many rows you're doing as you're building this up, but of course you can also, like I say, go to my other tutorials if you want to do the accessories for this as well, for the likes of the face scrubbies and the other little knickknacks I have for you all for this Darling Spark gift set, which is actually for Mother's Day. So let's get started. Okay, so once you are ready and you've got your hook, I'm using, as I mentioned before, a size 4, and I've got my t-shirt yarn ready. So before we begin, I'm just letting you know that I am actually working in US terminology. So to begin to make our basket, I'm going to start by making a magic ring. So if you're new to crocheting, I'm going to go over this real slow for you so you can hopefully get the idea of how to do a magic ring. There are several ways of doing this, by the way, but this is how I do mine. So basically I'm just going to hold this tail end here, I'm just going to rest that over my fingers just like so, and as you can see it's not too long, not too much length going on there. So picking up by the back here of the rest of the yarn, I'm just going to gently pick that up and wrap that round these 2 fingers, and as I'm wrapping that round I'm going to take that round over to here, and then with my little finger is just going to hold that in place just like that. So then you've got like this X. So then you're going to take your hook, and as you can see the tip of your hook there, just gently move that so it's now facing you. You're going to go underneath this first strand, so just get your hook and go under that first strand, and then you're going to move your hook again and it's going to be now facing down. So as that's facing down, you're now going to pull this hook, just gently rest along your fingers if you want to, and just pull that underneath that top strand. So as you're moving that round, you are moving your fingers with it at the same time, so your fingers are now closed slightly over and your hook is still there. So all you're going to do now at this point, you're just going to gently turn, and your hook is going to be facing away from you as you're turning, and keeping hold of that in place with your fingers. So then you're just going to gently pinch with your finger and your thumb at the base of your hook just here, and hold onto the bottom of that where it's twisted, and you're just going to pull your fingers out of that loop, and then you're going to take this strand from the loop and you're going to gently pull that out of the loop. So what you're going to do now is pick up your yarn from the back, the actual main part of the yarn, and you're just going to wrap that round your hook, pinch and hold again with the loop and the chain that you've just made with the twist. So you're going to pick up your hook and you're going to pull this strand through the loop that's on your hook. So pull through, so that's 1, and then let go, and your ring is now ready to be worked with. So we're going to do another chain, so that's 2, and then we're going to pick up the yarn again, and as you notice as I'm picking up this yarn, I'm actually turning my hook. I'm going to pull that through that loop again. So now you've got a chain of 3, 1, 2 and 3. So this chain of 3 is not going to act as a double crochet, because we're going to be working in double crochets into this magic ring, but we don't count this chain 3 as a stitch. So yarn over your hook, and as you can see here I've got this tail hanging over. We're just going to rest that against the ring, so when we're working we're going to crochet that in. So yarn over your hook, insert your hook into the ring, pull the yarn through, and then hold that again at the bottom of your thumb and finger. 3 loops on the hook, pick up your yarn, pull through 2, pick up the yarn again. As you can see I twist to pick my yarn up, pull through again, pull through 2. So it's pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over into the ring, keeping hold of that tail and the ring, and then we're just going to hold the bottom of this ring, because when you're very first making these rings it's very flimsy, especially when you're doing your very first double crochet in there. But as the more double crochets you put in, the obviously more sturdier it becomes. So picking up your yarn again, 3 loops on the hook, pull through 2, and then pull through 2 again. So as you can see we've got 2 double crochets and a chain 3, and you can just gently slide them together so they're not too far apart. So we're just going to keep working like this until we've got 12 double crochets in this ring, and of course your chain of 3. So you're not going to count that chain of 3 as I mentioned before. So just 12 double crochets all the way around, and I'll meet you back once you've got 12 double crochets in your magic ring. Okay, so now you should have your 12 double crochets into that ring and your chain 3 just here. So on this end here where you did your last double crochet, we're just going to take this tail, just the short one here, and we're going to pinch at the bottom of that double crochet and just gently pull. So just pull that short tail until your circle closes. So just keep going until your magic ring's closed, and you should feel it kind of tug into place, and if you don't it will eventually, so just keep pulling on that until it's closed. So now we're going to go into that third chain at the top, so we're going to go 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3 into there, insert your hook and pull the yarn through and through that loop that's on your hook, and then chain 3 again. So now we're going to do an increase round. So to do your increase round, it's 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way round, which will give you a total of 24 stitches. So yarn over your hook into this stitch here and do 2 double crochets. So that's 1 and then 2, and then 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around, and that will give you a total of 24 stitches. And like I say, just keep closing on this center. I can just do that again, and I've just felt that lock into place, because you'll kind of feel it get tight as it closes, and that's not going nowhere now, so that's nice and secure. So I'll meet you back once I've got 24 stitches at the end of this round. So like I say, just 2 double crochets in the same stitch all the way around, yarn over the hook, insert into the stitch, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then repeat that in the same stitch again for your increase. So I'll meet you back once I've got 24 stitches. Okay, so now you should have 24 stitches. I've just got one more increase to go just in this very last stitch just here. So yarn over your hook, insert into the stitch, and do my last increase. So once you've got 24 stitches, or you think you might have 24 stitches, just go back round and make sure you do have 24 stitches before moving on to the next round. And you want to make a habit of doing that for every single round, just so you can keep a count on your stitches, because when you sometimes you can accidentally miss a stitch and it can just mess everything up and you've got to start all over again. So it's always best just to count. Okay, so now we're going to do a slip stitch in the third chain again, so counting 1, 2 and 3. So make sure you get to that top chain, so if you just pull it out slightly you'll be able to count better. 1, 2 and 3, insert your hook, and then you pick up your yarn and pull your yarn through and through the loop that's on your hook, and now we're going to do another chain 3. So this next round is going to be an increase round again. We're going to do a 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to do an increase into the next stitch. So yarn over your hook into the next stitch and do 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And we're just going to keep repeating this all the way around for this round, and this is going to give you a total of 36 stitches, because you will have your 12 stitches at the beginning, then your 24 stitches, and now we're going to go on to 36 stitches. So it's 1 double crochet and then 1 increase all the way around. So I've got 1 double here, 1 increase there, yarn over into that next stitch for a 1 double on its own, and then the next is my increase. So just keep working like this all the way around, and I'll meet you back once I've got 36 stitches at the end of this round. Okay, so now you should have a total of 36 stitches, and you should have finished on an increase on that last stitch. So once again, we're going to do another slip stitch into that 3rd chain again. So 1, 2 and 3, insert your hook, pull the yarn through, and then of course do your chain of 3. So for this next round, we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches and then work our increase. So yarn over your hook going into that next stitch. So we're going to go 1, into the next for 2, and then into the next for your increase, and this will give us a total of 48 stitches. So before I continue on, I'm just going to actually cut the back of this tail a little bit, because it's a little bit long and it's a little bit in my way. So I don't want to cut too much, because I like to weave the tail ends in at the back anyway at the end, so I don't want to cut that too close. But I'll just weave that in at the end. So now we're just going to be getting this up to 48 stitches, so just make sure you've got 36 before moving on to do your 48 round. I'll meet you back once I've got 48 stitches. Okay, so I've just finished this round by doing my last increase into that last stitch, and I've got 48 stitches. So now I'm going to do a slip stitch again into that top of that 3rd chain, and then we're going to do a chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3, make your slip stitch, chain 3, and now we're going to get this up to 60. So to do 60, to get this up to 60, we're going to do a 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches and then work an increase. So yarn over your hook going into that next stitch for a 1 double crochet on its own, into the next, that's 2, and then 3, and then increase, and that will give you 60 stitches. So I'll meet you back once I've got 60 stitches at the end of this round. Okay, so now I've got 60 stitches in this round, and now I want to make this up to 72. So to do that, again, we're going to slip stitch into that 3rd chain at the top, so 1, 2 and 3, make your slip stitch, and then of course your chain of 3, and then we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So going into that first one for your first double crochet, so that's 1, into the next for 2, into the next for 3, and then 4, and then do your increase, and this will give you a total of 72 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then increase. So I'll meet you back once I've got 72 stitches all the way around. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end of this round now for 72. I've got my last increase to go just here, and then of course once you finish your last increase, you will have 72 stitches, and then 1, 2, 3 on your chain for your slip stitch, and then of course chain 3. So for this next round, we want to get this up to 84 stitches. So to do that, we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches and then work your increase. So it's 1 double crochet in the next 5 stitches and then do it an increase. I'll meet you back once I've got 84 stitches. Okay, so yours will be looking like this now, and I've got 84 stitches all the way around. So now we're going to do our last increase round going around, and the way we're going to do that, once again, you're going to have finished this last row with an increase. We're going to do a slip stitch into the 3rd chain, chain 3, and then we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next 6 stitches, and that's going to give us a total of 96 stitches at the end of the round. So all you're going to do, we have been all the way throughout, is doing your slip stitch. So 1, 2 and 3 for your slip stitch, and then obviously your chain 3, and then 1 double crochet into the next 6 stitches, and then work your increase. I'll meet you back once I've got 96 stitches, and you will have 96 stitches at the end of this round. Okay, so once again I've just finished my last stitch with an increase, and now of course we're going to do a slip stitch, and you should now have 96 stitches in this round. So now we're going to do a slip stitch into the third chain like we have been for all the other rounds. So 1, 2 and 3. So this round is going to be different because we're finished with our increasing, but we're going to do a chain 3. So yarn over your hook. This time round we're going to do a 1 double crochet in each stitch around, but using the front loop only. So if you look closely at your work, I'll just zoom you in slightly. I don't know if you can see there. But here you've got a front loop and a back loop. So we're going to just yarn over your hook, going into that first stitch of the front loop only. The front loop is the one that's closest to you, and your back loop is the one that's furthest away from you. So it's the one in the front, the one that's closest to you. Insert your hook, pull your yarn through and pull through 2, and then pull through 2 again, just like you normally would for your double crochet. And what this does is it leaves a nice little edging at the base for this basket. So yarn over your hook into the next stitch, and it's just again same thing of a 1 double crochet all the way around, ensuring you're going through the front loop only for each stitch. So that's all we're going to do for this round, is just 1 double crochet in each stitch on the front loop only for 96 stitches. So I'll meet you back once I've finished this round of the front loop only double crochet for 96 stitches. Okay, so once you've finished that round, I've just got 1 more double crochet to go just here, which is going to be a front loop as well. So I'm just going to put my hook back in there, yarn over my hook, and do my last front loop double crochet. So if you just want to stop for a moment and just turn your work the other way, you will see you've got this lovely finish going on at the bottom, which should measure around 7 inches. I know mine does, so if you wanted to just measure that just to see what yours is at. So mine is just at 7 inches. So now we can move on to the next round. So moving on to the next round, we're going to do a slip stitch again into the top of that chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3, make your slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 3 again. So for this round we're just going to do 1 round of double crochet going through both of those loops, no front or back. So yarn over the hook, and we're going to just do 1 double crochet in each stitch around, and you will have 96 stitches at the end of this round. So it's just 1 double crochet in each stitch, and I'll meet you back once I've finished this round. Okay, so I've just finished my double crochets going all the way around, and yours should now be looking like this. So to begin with the basket, now you can see it wants to start making like a wall type. It's starting to curl upwards, which is perfect. That's what we want. That's what we did when we did the front loop post here, and that's made that nicely to bring that, start bringing that into shape. So what we're going to do now, we're going to actually start on the actual pattern for the basket, and the way we're going to do that now is, so obviously you can see here we've got the chain 3 that we've been doing. So now we're just going to yarn over the hook, and we're not actually going to be doing slip stitching no more. We're just going to be working on the back posts, on the posts of doing a front and back double crochet post. So to do that, we're going to yarn over the hook, and this first one is our chain 3. So we're actually going to do a front post double crochet on this chain 3. So basically you're going to yarn over your hook, and you're going to insert your hook just around on this post, on this chain 3, draw your yarn up, with 3 loops on your hook. You're going to pull through the first 2 and then pull through the next 2, just like we have been for double crochets. So then we're going to yarn over the hook again, and we're going to do a chain of 2. So on the previous rows we've been doing chains of 3, well now we're going to change that to chains 2s. So basically we're now going to yarn over the hook again. We're going to skip this very first post that's right here. These double crochets are classed as posts. So we're going to do front, back, front, back, front, back, all the way around. So this one we skip. We're going to go to this next one, and we're going to do a front post double crochet. So yarn over your hook, and with the way we do the front post, hold your hook facing downwards, insert and come back through the other side. So then your post is sitting around your hook. Then you're going to pick your yarn through, that's just going to draw that through, and then you've got 3 loops on the hook. Pull through the first 2 loops, pick up the yarn again and pick up the next 2 loops, and then yarn over the hook again. This time we're going to do a back post, a back double crochet post. So to do that, yarn over your hook, and we're going to go hook facing downwards and bring that round inside this way, and then just weave that round the opposite side. So if you look, that's sitting around the back of your hook, and you're just going to pull the yarn through, 3 loops on the hook, pull through 2, and then pull through the last 2. And then obviously the next one's going to be a front post double crochet. Next one's going to be a back post double crochet, and we're just going to keep working like this all the way around. We're actually going to be doing this for a total of 6 rounds. So this is round 1, so we've got 5 more rounds to do after this round. Yarn over again, working the back post. If you're not sure if you've done front or back, just take a look, stop what you're doing and have a look, and you'll be able to quite easily distinguish front and back post of what you've done. I'll meet you back when I've got round to the other side here and show you how to go to the next round. Okay, so I'm just coming around the first round now. I've nearly finished that, and as you can see, I actually put a stitch marker just here at the very beginning before that chain 2, just so I know obviously not to go too far, and you can do that quite easily if you wanted to do that as well. So my last post is going to be a back post double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over and do that last back post just here, and then I now have 96 stitches all the way around. So just make sure you want to count those stitches all the way around, that you've got 96. So I'm just going to move this stitch marker out of the way to show you how to get to the next round. So I'm just going to take that stitch marker out. Yarn around your hook, and we're going to go onto that chain 2 that we did just here. So to do that chain 2, you're just going to insert your hook and pull that round, pull through 2 and pull through 2. I'm going to do the same again by doing a chain of 2, and then we're just going to go straight into this first post right here for every round now. So we don't need to skip one because we've got that one there, and then we're going to go straight into the post that we did on the first round. So it's going to be a front post, and then the next is going to be your back post, and if you just pull that up slightly because it kind of might sink down a little, and you can just get your hook around the back and just like that. And then you should have 96 stitches all the way around. I'm just going to keep repeating that all the way around, and you're going to do that for a total of 6 rounds. This is round 2, so I've got 4 more rounds to go. So I'll meet you back at the end of round 6. So I'm just on round 3 and I'm coming to an end of my yarn. So I just thought I'd quickly just show you, if you have the same problem and you need to reattach new yarn, I'm just going to quickly show you how you can do that. So all you're going to do is yarn around your hook as you normally would. As you can see here, I'm now going to be working on the front post. So I'm going to yarn over my hook and go into the front of the post, to do a front post double crochet, pull my yarn through, 3 loops on the hook. I'm not going to pull through those 3 loops. I'm just going to drop that old piece of yarn and pick up my new yarn and just place that over your hook nicely as you normally would, and we're going to pull through the first 2 loops and then pull through the next 2 loops. And then with this yarn I'm actually going to pick up this new piece of yarn and the old piece of yarn, and I'm actually going to crochet in around these yarns. So next for me is a back post double crochet, so yarn over. I'm going to insert my hook as I normally would, and I'm just going to place my yarns just right there so I can try and catch that in as I come back out of the post. So I'm just going to try that again. So go around my post like so, just keep hold of those there, pull that all the way through. So it can be a little bit tricky if you need to crochet in 3 loops on the hook, pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, so that's not going to be entirely secure, so I will be sewing this in at the end as well. So I'm just going to do that again with these 2 and do a front post with this as well. So just make sure you try and catch that in when you, so just pull that over your hook and pull round, and that's the way I do mine to make sure I get a nice finish with that, so you can't see the strands. And I'll just keep weaving this through as I'm going, and then if there's any tails I can weave at the end. So I just thought I'd quickly show you that in case you needed to attach on new yarn. So I'm just coming to the very end now of my last round for round 6, and just so you know, I'm just going to measure this from here to here in case you're using the same hook and yarn as myself, so you know what height that is. So it should be around about 2 inches high. That's what mine is at, is 2 inches high. So now we're going to be moving on to the next round. So like I said, this is the last round for me for round 6. And as you can see just there, that was the double crochet that we were skipping. So what we're going to do now, we're going to just simply hold your hook like this. You don't need to yarn over or anything at this stage. You're just going to count on this chain 2 space, 1 and 2, and you're going to insert your hook into that second chain, pull your yarn through and pull through the loop that's on your hook. So that is your slip stitch, yarn over your hook and chain 2. So now we're going to be working in half double crochets in each stitch around, and we're going to be working from this top stitch right here, this first one. So yarn over your hook and go straight into that first stitch, insert your hook, pull your yarn through, 3 loops on the hook. You're going to pull through, pick up your yarn, and you're going to go through all 3 of those loops for your 1 half double crochet. So that's 1. Going into the next stitch, 3 loops on the hook, pull through all 3 loops, that's 2. Yarn over into the next stitch and pull through all 3. And if you actually notice, I am going through both of those bars, no front or loop stitch. We're just going straight through for an average half double crochet all the way around. You will have 96 stitches at the end of this round. If you want to, in case you get stuck where you started and began, just simply place your stitch marker, and I'm just going to place mine right in that chain 2 space just here, so I know where to stop when I begin my next round. So I'll meet you back once I've got 96 half double crochets all the way around. Okay, so I'm just about to finish this round now of the half double crochet. I've got one more space to get 96 stitches all the way around, one more half double crochet, so yarn over the hook, and if you just look closely here, you'll see I've just got that very last stitch to go. So I'm just going to insert my hook and pull the yarn through, pick up the yarn again and pull through all 3 of those loops that were on my hook. So now I'm going to move my stitch marker out of this chain 2 that we did before we began this round. So just move your stitch marker out. So now we're just going to do a slip stitch into that second chain of the chain 2, so 1 and 2. So all you're going to do is insert your hook into that chain, into the second chain, and just pull that yarn through and through the loop that's on your hook, and then do a chain 1. So for this next round we're just going to do a 1 single crochet for 96 stitches all the way around. So you're just going to insert your hook into that first stitch, and you're going to pick up your yarn, pull that through, 2 loops on the hook, pick up your yarn and pull through those 2 loops, and then go into the next stitch and do the same and do 1 single crochet. So you're going to insert your hook, pull the yarn through, 2 loops, pick up the yarn and pull through 2. And you're just going to keep working like this for 96 stitches all the way around. And also don't forget, you might want to put your stitch marker in at the very beginning before you continue on, to make sure that you don't lose where you're up to. So if you just pull that slightly, you can just about fit your stitch marker on that chain 1 space, just like I have here. So I'll meet you back once I've got 96 stitches. Okay, so once you've got your 96 stitches all the way around of your single crochet, you're then just going to do a slip stitch into that chain 1 that we did on the before we began this round. So once you've finished doing your slip stitch, you're then just going to do a chain 1. We're now going to be working on the handles for this basket. So we're just going to do 1 single crochet into the next 18 stitches. So by going into that first stitch and do your 1 single crochet, and then into the next and into the next until you've got 18 single crochets going along. I'll meet you back once I've got 18 single crochets. Okay, so I've got 18 single crochets going from here all the way to here. So once you've got your 18 single crochets on that 18th stitch just here, we're now going to do a chain of 12. So just simply pick up your yarn and pull through the loop that's on your hooks. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So once you've got a chain of 12, you're going to skip 12 of these stitches. So the best way to do that is to count your stitches. So we're going to go from this stitch here, 1, not on the same 18th stitch, to stitch again the next one along. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So once you've found your 12th one, you just want to make sure your chain is in a nice order. Insert your hook, pull the yarn through, and then just simply pull through the loop that's on your hook. And now we're going to do a 1 single crochet in the next 36 stitches. So going into that next stitch, from there's the 12th stitch that we did a slip stitch into, we're going to go into this next stitch and we're going to do a 1 single crochet into the next 36 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to meet you back once I've got 36 single crochets. Okay, so I've got 36 stitches going from the end of that handle right here on that first stitch, from here to here. So you should have 36 stitches, and then we're going to do a chain 12 again, just like we did for this handle. We did a chain 12 and skip 12. So we are going to do that again. So once you're at 36 stitch, you're then just going to pick up your yarn and do your chain 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So now we're going to skip 12 stitches again, going from that first, starting from this stitch here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and that last one there for 12. Again, make sure you're holding your chain nicely, make sure it's not twisted. Insert your hook and pull the yarn through the loop and the loop that's on your hook. So now we're going to do a 1 single crochet in the remaining 18 stitches that you should have from here to here, and at the end of this round you are still going to have 96 stitches. So going into that next stitch for a 1 single crochet, into the next 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll meet you back once I've got to the end of these remaining 18 stitches. So your basket should be now looking something like this, where your side handles are now there ready. So we're going to do another round of single crochet, and when we do the single crochet in here, we're going to go through this chain. We're not actually going to go into the chain, we're going to work around the chain of a single crochet, doing 12 stitches, and then just continue on of your single crochet all the way around for 96 stitches. So I'm going to begin right here now, where I'm at the starting point again. So I'm going to do a slip stitch, so insert my hook into that chain 1 and draw that yarn through and chain 1. So now I'm going to go into this next stitch and do a 1 single crochet, and we're just going to do 1 single crochet all the way around, and I'll be back to show you when it comes to the handles. And also don't forget to use your stitch marker if you need to. So once you've finished doing your 18 single crochets from the starting point here to the first handle, we're now going to do 12 single crochets around this chain. So we're not actually going to work into the chain, we're going to work around the chain. So just simply insert your hook around the chain and draw your yarn round, and then you've got 2 loops, and finish off your single crochet. Just pull that through those 2 loops, that's 1, and you can just slightly push that closer to the side if you want to, if it's too far away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then your last one for 12. So once you've got your 12 there, you're just going to go into this very first stitch right here for a 1 single crochet, and then you're going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitches, which should be 36 stitches, and just continue on, and then you're going to repeat that again for your next handle for 12 single crochets, working around the handle and then into the remaining of your stitches, which should be 18 stitches at the end, giving you a total of 36 stitches at the end of this round. I'll meet you back once I've finished this round. Okay, so once you've finished doing that last round of your single crochets going around all the way around, we're now going to finish this off with a slip stitch, just like we have been all the way around. So once you've finished off with your slip stitch, we can now fasten this off, and now we're going to change over the yarn. I'm going to change my yarn over slightly different to how I already have been. So I'm just going to take my scissors and just cut this just there, and just pull that through, and that will then secure that into place. So now I'm going to be changing yarns. I'm now using this peach cotton yarn, and this is the other yarns that I'm going to be using for the likes of the face cloths and the scrubbies and things. So I just thought it'd be nice to just finish this basket off with this colour as well, and also put a nice little embellishment on here as well if you wanted to. So I'm just going to attach this yarn on. So I'm going to insert my hook, place the yarn over my hook, and just do a chain 1. So now we're going to be doing what's known as a crab stitch. So to do this crab stitch, it might be a bit awkward to you at first, but it does get easier as you go. So going into this next stitch right here, we're just going to do a single crochet. We're going to pull the yarn through, and as you can see I've got 2 loops on my hook, and I'm going to pull through those 2 loops. That's the first one. So normally we work this way, but instead we're going to be working this way. So going into that next stitch, and you need to keep it consistent as you go in. So insert your hook, pull the yarn through and pull through 2. I'm just going to keep working like this all the way around for 96 stitches all the way around. When you get to your handles, you are going to be working through the actual stitch on those 12 single crochets along the handle. So you're not going to go around the handle, you're going to go through the stitch just like we are right now. So going into that next stitch and pull the yarn through and go through those 2 loops. This gives a beautiful kind of finish on your basket. You could even do it in the same colour that you're using, but if you just look, doesn't that just look so pretty? I think just finishes it off nicely. So this is called the crab stitch. As I mentioned before, you just insert your hook, pull the yarn through and pull through those 2 loops, and just keep working like this all the way around. So I'll meet you back once I get to the end of this round to show you what you need to do next. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end of this now. I've got one more stitch to go, and then we can fasten this off and weave our tail ends in. So I'm just going to go into this next stitch right here for this last one, and I'm just going to turn mine this way round, just so I can slip stitch this together and fasten this off and weave the ends in. So all I'm going to do here, I'm just going to go from round the back of the stitch rather than going through that way. Yes, it seems much easier going that way, but I don't want to really be able to see that slip stitch. So I'm just going to go from the back here and use the back of the stitch right there, and I'm just going to pull that through and pull through again. I mean, it does look a little bit higher there, so maybe you could stretch that down on the stitch one again, just so we can try and hide that. So just go down one more stitch if you wanted to, just to try and give that a bit of a smoother finish. Chain 1, and then we can just cut this and obviously use your tapestry needle, just like this one I have here. Pull that through and pull that quite tight so it's nice and secure, so it's not so bulky. Whereas if I'd have gone into this stitch, it probably would have been quite bulky. So now I'm just going to finish off weaving this in. So just attach your tapestry needle on, and all you want to do here is you just want to weave through the fibres, but not going through the green if you can help it, or whatever colour you're using. So I'm just going to weave this through so it's nice and secure. So once you've finished weaving that in, all we need to do now is do the bow, and then we can attach the bow on. So I'll be back once I've finished weaving in my tail ends, and then we will do the embellishment bow for this Darling Spar basket. Okay, so to begin to do the bow for the front of your Darling basket, you're just going to need your yarn that you're using. I'm using a size 4mm crochet hook, and I'm also using cotton yarn. So to begin, we're going to start by making a slip knot. So to do your slip knot, just wrap your yarn around your finger and gently pull that off. You've got this little ring here, so this tail is just going to sit behind of that ring and just pinch at the bottom just like so. Insert your hook and through this centerpiece, and you're just going to hold this tail and this piece of this strand of yarn and just pull, and that's just going to sit nicely against your hook. So now you're going to put your yarn around your hook, and we're now going to pull through the loop that's on our hook, and we're going to do a chain of 11. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the last one for 11. So now we're just going to do a 1 single crochet in each of these chains, and what we're going to do is we're going to skip this very first one and we're going to go into the next one right here. So insert your hook, pull your yarn through, 2 loops on the hook, pick up your yarn again and go through those 2 loops, and we're going to do 1 single crochet in each of these chains, and that's going to give us a total of 10 single crochets all the way across. So just keep doing your 1 single crochet in each of the chain until you get to that end, and you'll find you will have 10 single crochets at the end of this chain. And I'm just coming to the end now, so this is my last one. So now I've got 10 single crochets going across on that chain. So now we're just going to do a chain 1 and we're going to turn. This time round we're going to do a back loop only in each of the stitches going across, and we're going to do that for 3 rows. So we're going to do this row as 1 and then we're going to do another 3, so total of 4. So insert your hook in the back loop only and do a single crochet. So this is back loop only single crochet, and you will still have 10 single crochets all the way across, just making sure you go into that back loop only all the way to the end, making sure you've still only got 10 single crochets. And I'm just coming nearly to the end now. So this is technically classed as row 1, and to make sure you go into that very last stitch on the end. So because we're working in the back loops, I'm not going to be doing no more chain 1s from now on for the rest of these rows. I'm just going to simply just turn my work that way, and then we're just going to use the back loop again, go in that very first one and then in every single one. So I'll meet you back once I've finished with all my rows, and as I said, we've got 4 rows in total to do, and I've done 1 and I've got 3 more to go. Well, 3 more with this one. So I'll meet you back once I've finished all my rows. Okay, so I'm just coming to this very last stitch on my last row of row 4. So here you'll find it might be a little bit difficult to get your hook into that last stitch. That's just how it works when you're doing back loop only. So yours should be looking like this now, or something similar. So I'm just going to yarn over the hook, and I'm actually going to just do a chain 1 just there. So now we're going to do a 1 single crochet into that same stitch. So we've done chain 1 and a 1 single crochet, and then we're going to do another chain 1. So now we're just going to work around this now in doing a 1 single crochet. So just insert your hook, and I know you can't really see your stitches down the side, sorry, a slip stitch, not a single crochet, but we just have to try and get it as even as we can until we reach this next corner. So once you're in that next corner, you can just do your 1 single, chain 1 and then another 1 single, and then we're just going to tighten that corner bit slightly. I'm going to go into this first chain here, I'm going to do a slip stitch, and I'm just doing slip stitching all the way around, just as even as I can. And all this does is it just helps to give it a little bit of shaping going on. 1 single, chain 1 and then 1 single again, and then we're just going to work this last side for some more slip stitching, as long as they're as even as you can get them. Okay, so before I go into that last chain there, I'm just going to do 1 more slip stitch just to get me as close to that corner as possible. So now where we did that first chain 1, that's where we're going to actually slip stitch into that. So insert your hook and pull that through the loop. So now we can just chain one. I'm just going to cut some length, and you want to cut a bit of length for this, for sewing for later. So I'm not cutting loads, as you can see. I'm just going to cut that there, and that's just going to pull through to secure that into place. And we can weave this other tail in a little while. So all we're going to do now, I'm going to get some more yarn, and you want quite a bit of yarn this time. And just cut that there. So I've got quite a length here at the moment. Just going to move my hook out the way, and all I'm going to do now, I'm just going to fold this in half. So just place your yarn as evenly as you can, just lay it out, and then get your second piece and just fold that in half with the yarn inside of that loose yarn. But actually I'm going to go this way, depends on what side you want yours on, so actually I think I'll just carry on going this way. All you're going to do is fold this, make sure it's, you know, folded at quite a more or less the same. So while that's folded like that, we're just going to tie this together. So all we're going to do is hold these two pieces, it is a bit awkward because I've got different tails going in different directions, so I keep picking up the wrong piece. And the only reason why I folded it in half is just to try and gauge the centre of this. So once you're happy and it's pretty much centre, just keep pulling and just pull. And then you can just kind of mess about with that in a moment, just to make a little bow. So all these little tail ends are more or less in my way, but I need those there to attach onto the actual basket. Or of course you can just cut them now, weave them in and use these ends. So I'm just going to secure that a bit some more, so I'm going to do another knot onto that. And you can always post that through twice if you wanted to in that loop, just to give it an extra secure, but I don't think I need to do that. So now you can just take these long strands, and all we're going to do is wrap them around, but without wrapping that in. Well, I suppose I could wrap that in, it's not really a problem. So we're just going to wrap and wrap and wrap that around until you feel you've wrapped enough. So it doesn't really matter how many times you wrap it, but just make sure when you are wrapping it that it is quite centre. I like to pull on mine as well to make sure it's all nice and okay. So I'm going to stop wrapping there now because I've come to the end of that other tail. So I'm actually just going to undo that one and just turn it upside down, and here we're just going to tie again. Just hopefully you can actually see what I'm doing here. So I'm just tying and securing this piece on at the back, and you can just pull and try and get that in the centre. And what I like to do here is I just tend to get my tapestry needle and I'm just going to take this tail into the actual centre of the wrap of the bow, just so it's not hanging around the sides or anywhere. And I'm going to do the same with this one. all I want to do now is just weave my ends in. Try and make sure that's centre, so you can just like open that out in a minute. You probably might do a better as well. So here where we've got this knot, you don't want to go away from whichever way that your knot leans, because that could leave a really big bulk on the side. So I like to just try and pull and find out what direction is the best way to go. So I'm going to go just from this way here. I'm not going to weave all the way around, I'm just going to weave in along the top or the bottom, whichever side this is. I'll decide when I sew this on. So I'm just making it all the way towards to the center of the bow. So you're just going to go through the fibers of the yarn and just make your way towards the center. And I'm just going to go underneath that knot, and I'm going to get mine to come through where I've got those other strands of yarn just waiting there. So I'm going to do the same with this piece. If you can just about see that, it's just hanging out there. I just want to get that in as well, which is this one here. I want that under that tie bit. So I'm just going to go under and through to that center piece again. And all that's just for is just to hide that tail end as well. So once your bow is almost made, you can just have a bit of a mess about with it and try and open it out a bit however you want yours to be. And you can also make these a bit bigger or smaller, whatever size you want. But when you come to attach it to your basket, that is the back of the basket. If you want to just go off and put some yarn on the inside and close this over, you can, if yours is a bit too wide. So when you look at your basket, I just want to put my bow on this top part of the basket on these single crochets, just sitting on this front loop that we did earlier on, where you got these posts and then this stitch here of the front loop just below the single crochets. So that's where I'm going to be placing my bow. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to have to do this strand by strand, unless of course you want to put a load of tapestry needles on the end of your yarn. I suppose you could do that, but I'm just going to do one strand at a time. And when I attach this on, I don't go all the way through. I don't want to go all the way through like this. I just want to go through these front loops. So I just want to try and find that center. You can measure it if you wanted to, but I'm just going to pretty much eyeball this. So I'm just going to go about here. So that's the first one in. And then I'm going to take the next strand and do the same again. And that can sit next door to this one. And I know we've got these shorter pieces now as well, which I'm not too bothered about those. I'm just going to probably sew them into the actual bow once I'm sorted here. So here you can't really see that there's anything attached to there, so just give it a little pull, not too tight though, and just tie that on. Just going to go around that twice. And then all I'm going to do now, I'm just going to straighten out my bow a little bit. And if you want to secure it a little bit on the top to make sure it sits nicely, you can do that, but I quite like the look of this just being on loose. So that is entirely up to you, that's a personal preference. So I'm just going to take the tapestry needle again, and I'm just going to weave these tails in, and then I'm going to cut and secure this completely on now. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go through the back of the bow and just basically weave in and out. But the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to go through the fibres of here I'm not going all the way through. See, there's nothing on that side. And I'm just going to keep weaving this in and out until I feel it's secure enough. And I'm only going to be doing this with one strand at a time, simply so these don't get caught in the way, because I don't want big bulky knots stuck at the back. I'm just going to go through again, through the back of the bow. And I would say that's probably really secure enough right now. So I'm just going to go back through one more time through the actual bow. And then once I come out of this bow, I can now just cut as close as I can. And that's now nice and secure. That's going nowhere now. And that is how I've put my bow on. So I'll be back once I've finished securing the rest of this bow onto my basket. That is the Darling Spa gift set basket now completely done. So I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. If your bow keeps flopping about and you're not happy with that, just secure it with a little bit extra yarn and that will hold that in place for you. But I quite like this kind of effect where it's just loose. So anyway, this is the basket completely done. My other tutorials for such as the face scrubbies and of course the other little contents, my other tutorials are going to be out for you as well, so you can follow along if you want to do the whole of this gift set for your Mother's Day or for a very special person, or of course for yourself. So anyway, I am on Facebook at Crochet Infusion. You can also follow me there, and thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be back. Thank you all. Bye.